Hey there, I'm Scott. Welcome back to my home and my kitchen. You know, I have a lot of really favorite foods, but one of probably my favorite food is crab cakes. And recently our friend Jessica asked if I would share my recipe for crab cakes. I try them anytime I go to a new restaurant and they're on the menu and I know they're going to be fresh. We've had some really great ones. When we visited our friends Allison and Patrick in Washington, D.C., we had fantastic crab cakes in Annapolis. There's a restaurant in Seattle called Ray's Boathouse. They have fantastic crab cakes. So I've taken what I really liked about those two particular recipes and combined them into my own recipe. So let's get started on crab cakes. Okay, the most delicious crab cakes, and they're really easy to get together. But what you need to know about this recipe is once you make the crab cakes, form them into the little patties, they need to sit in your refrigerator for at least an hour. So make this early in the day. You know, even 4 hours, 5 hours sitting in the refrigerator is going to be just fine. You just want them to firm up a little bit before we fry them. And we're going to serve this with some garlic, lemon, and tarragon aioli, and I'll show you how to make that later on. But what you'll need to get this recipe together is a large bowl. You need 1 pound of crab meat. Try to get the freshest crab meat that you can. If you're not living near a source for that, the pasteurized type that comes in the tin can would be just fine, but fresh is obviously better. You'll also need 1.5 cups of panko breadcrumbs. And panko breadcrumbs are the Asian breadcrumbs. They're kind of fluffier and they're just a little bit crisper than what you normally find. And take 3/4 cup of that and put that in a shallow dish. We're going to use that to bread the outside of the crab cake. And then 3/4 cup of panko that's going to go right into our bowl. This recipe doesn't have a lot of breadcrumbs. Some have too much. So I'm just limiting this to 3/4 cup. And then we have about 3 to 4 tablespoons of very finely minced red pepper, red bell pepper. And that goes right in. And then shallot, the same quantity, 3 to 4 tablespoons of very finely chopped shallot. And the shallot's going to add sort of a sweetness to this. If you don't have shallots, you could use very finely chopped green onions, spring onions, they would work just fine. You're also going to need about 1/4 cup, this is 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and that's just going to give a nice richness to this final dish. And then 3 to 4 tablespoons of very finely chopped parsley goes in. You need 1 egg, and then 3 tablespoons of very freshly squeezed lemon juice, and that's going to add a great flavor to this. Then a pinch of salt goes in, a little bit of pepper. I love Tabasco sauce in this, but so just a dash. If you want a little spicier, add more. If you want to omit it completely, that's fine as well. And then some celery salt, and be careful with this, just a pinch, probably less than 1/4 teaspoon. That's going to go all into your bowl. We're just going to combine this. I want to combine all these ingredients before I add the crab meat, because when I put the crab meat in, I just want to gently toss it to combine and not to break up that really nice chunk crab that we have. It could not be simpler than that. That's all completely combined. Then in goes the crab meat. We're just going to gently fold this together. Like I said, be careful not to break up those big chunks of the crab. The mixture is completely combined. Very careful, like I said, not to break all of it up. And you should be able to get 8 crab cakes out of the 1 pound of the crab meat plus the rest of the mixture. If you wanted them smaller, if you're going to serve them for a first course or for appetizers, you could make them smaller and you'd probably get 12 small crab cakes. So I'm going to form these into balls, basically just a little bit larger than a golf ball, approximately. And then once you get the ball formed, and you just want to squeeze it lightly, just to compact all that together and let the what breadcrumbs we did add sort of do their work. And then flatten that ball out until it's a nice patty shape, just like that. And then we have our 3/4 cup of the additional panko. We're just going to put those lightly in there. They're going to stick right to the outside, and when we saute these later, those breadcrumbs are going to toast up nicely and give them a really nice golden brown appearance. And then I have a sheet tray right here lined with aluminum foil. Those are going to go onto the sheet tray. And I'm going to let those sit in the refrigerator for at least an hour. Probably today I'm going to let them sit for about 3 to 4 hours prior to dinner. And then we'll get those out and I'll show you how to get them plated up. In the meantime, I'll show you how to make the aioli sauce with garlic, tarragon, and lemon. The crab cakes got all formed up. They're in the refrigerator and getting nice and chilled before we saute those off. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you how to make our aioli. And aioli is very similar to making a mayonnaise, except it's going to have some different ingredients in it. And the ingredients that you'll need for this particular aioli, which it's going to be flavored with lemon and garlic and tarragon, it's delicious. So what you'll need are 2 really fresh egg yolks. You're going to need a cup of oil. You can use olive oil or vegetable oil. I'm actually using vegetable oil today in this. You'll need 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice, about 2 tablespoons of finely minced or finely chopped tarragon, about 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of breadcrumbs, and that'll help it come together and be really great. 4 really large garlic cloves. If they're small, do 2 per, so 4 large garlic cloves, half a teaspoon of sugar, and about 2 tablespoons of lemon zest. That's just the delicious outside of a lemon zested, and that's what we're using here. So everything's going to go into our blender. So as I said, I'm going to pulse this until I can see it getting combined. Then let the machine run, and I'm going to slowly start to add the oil in a very fine stream. And as it begins to emulsify and turn into essentially a mayonnaise, I can add the oil a little quicker once that gets accomplished. So there you go. It's really as simple as that. It's nice and creamy and it's going to be delicious. I'm actually going to store this in the refrigerator until it's time in a bowl, covered. When it comes out, it might be a little thick. If you want it thinner, add just a little bit of water, whisk that to the consistency that you like, and it's going to be delicious with the crab cakes. We'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so our crab cakes have been in the refrigerator for about 3 hours or so. Like I said, an hour minimum. More is just fine. So I have a skillet here on the heat. I'm going to add just about 3 tablespoons of olive oil and let that get up to heat just slightly, just so you start to see the ripples. This pan was already hot. And then we're going to add our crab cakes one at a time to that hot oil. We're going to cook them about 2 to 3 minutes per side until they get nicely browned. Alright, so it's been just about 2.5 minutes. I'm going to flip these over. They're starting to get nicely browned on the first side. So we're going to let them go about 2.5, 3 minutes on the second side, then we'll be ready to plate. Alright, the second side is getting nicely toasted. So I'm going to lay these out on our sheet pan lined with a paper towel. One at a time out, and then we'll be ready to put these onto our salad. The crab cakes look delicious. So the way we're going to plate this, on a plate I have some really great fresh organic arugula. And arugula is such a great green. You guys, you really should try it. It's a nice alternative just to typical lettuce. So get that kind of piled up right in the center of your plate. And then on with a couple, 2 or 3, depending on our aioli we made earlier. I had this in the refrigerator. Give that a whisk, just get everything reincorporated. It may have separated due to the lemon juice, so just take a whisk to it. Get everything nicely incorporated. And then give that a drizzle right over your crab cakes and your salad. You know what, guys? People are going to rave about this. So there you go, crab cakes and arugula with an aioli sauce that is to die for. So there you go, guys, really great crab cakes, and I hope you'll enjoy them. So if you want to make a comment on this recipe or ask me to prepare one for you, please email me at scottinoregon@comcast.net. Alright guys, have a good day. Bye.